those certificates carries no meaning anymore. That is why those degrees cannot get me a career anymore. That is why those extra classes I have done cannot sustain me anymore. You know, it's so difficult to ultimately reach a point where you say what is life and what is the meaning of life. I remember in 2016, Shirley K likes to call me her boss, but worse, she calls me a pastor. And she influenced every single one of you to call me a pastor. In essence, amongst the papers that I'm filing now, I do not have any that says pastor. It is now recently during COVID that I said maybe she has a vision. I started attending a Bible school. I'm doing that only because I have reached a point where I will be at home, stuck doing nothing. Life is a journey. And in this journey, you who are here at this appointed time, at even a lower age than 30, hang on to what you have. Because what I started learning is your friends begin to fade. Because life is always going hand in hand with death. Later on, some of them get married, divorce, move from your environment. The person you called your best buddy is no longer your best buddy, because life is a journey. What becomes even more harder is when you step into your 60s. And this is where I am. Only to realize, indeed, the philosopher was right. It is useless. It is like chasing a tree. However, he continues to say, as such, enjoy it whilst there is still time. You owe it to yourself. I'm saying this because I want to talk about Skaluma Port and the hubby. Budimulu, I cannot call you that. You are just far from pension. I'm already there. So when you call me, Mmatsie, I've known about you. One day I had a talk with Sky. She was the manager of my boss. And naturally, I'm a very difficult person. And then she would write, please report to the office now. And I'm like, oh, who's this one? How did this experience? And I found myself most of the time against what she was writing. But I've also learned another point from her. As she explains it, it is not me, but the office. Sometimes when you are in an office, you carry a certain level of authority with you. Do not undermine it. As somebody writes to this young pastor, and he said, behold, do not allow them to undermine you because of being young. That's Paul to Timothy. In our dialogue, he took me through a journey of how they've met with Budimulu and the challenges that they went through. And he took me through the of also how she grew up. And I began to appreciate her. And we became buddies. If she's not in my office, I'm in her office. But one day she said to me, "Hey, Pastor N." Oh, by the way, how I came to become Pastor N. The secretary to the boss passed on, and then they gave me a service, and then I preached from Psalm 23 without even having a Bible. And she ended up saying, "Well, no Bible comes." So I became a pastor. So she was saying, "Pastor N, I had started this ministry. It started as a young adults ministry for marriages, young couples, and that shows my age. I'm about to be kicked out by a person." And she goes on and on and on. But the ladies, when we established them, they said, "Hey man, we can't leave out our single sisters, man. Let them become part of this. And I need a speaker for them." And I'm like, okay. I just went to a certain church where I was preaching, and I had this woman who has been falsely accused, and for 10 years she was imprisoned, and that woman was paying. She just resonates very, very deep inside me to say, "Yeah, she can do a wonder." Because after that, she talked about how she was also, for 10 years, was set aside in isolation because other people were accusing her. And her name was almost in every single newspaper, only to find that it was false accusation. The investigation was not thoroughly done. They were in business, and the driver killed the husband. But unfortunately, he had to go through that gap of life sentence. And I said, "I can contact her for you." And then she was like, "No. I don't want like one about woman. We want those who talk about tangible things." Then I realized, oh, okay, she's just afraid to tell me what we have been saying for too long. You'll understand the subject better. So that was in 2016. I just want to have a review of the message. I said to them, the topic is brand yourself. B stands for believe in yourself, or build a belief system. If you don't understand that, you have 3 requirements about who you are that you need to fulfill, then remain and endanger peace. Because by a spirit, meaning that you must be spiritually fed. 2, a spirit lives in a body. Take care of your body. 3, a soul. Normally when we speak about a soul, it's a combination of your capabilities, your emotions, and your mind, and your heart. If you don't get that right, it's easy to be called schizophrenic. Take care of that. Then I said to the heart is about relationship. Do you have a relationship with God? And in a relationship, take a model that you see in the Bible to say when the children of Israel are going to relate to God, use the same model. When David says, "We will enter his gates with thanksgiving," it means he's still in the outer court. Now, in the outer court, everybody with psychological problems and fit in and misfit in your life can become part of who you are. But then there is the second part, they say the inner court. Now, in the inner court, it is where you have to have a relationship with people based on objectives and goals and commonalities. But the danger of it, these are your family members, because we are same blood. These are people you call friends. But remember, with this group group of people, something dangerous can happen. It is where they also slaughter and sacrifice goats and sheep. And some of them they become scapegoats. Be careful who surrounds you in that relationship. But there are those that are special. You know, I know so much that there is this woman, Moroma. She is in the holy of the holies. That's the third category that you need to know in your relationship with whoever you encounter. I'm speaking here on behalf of all you guests who are here. I didn't tap into your belief systems and what you understand, but I know I was chosen because I can be with you in the holy of the holies. This is where you meet God himself. This is where the wave is different. Then I remember, okay, the A is adaptation. You see, nothing is stable. Nothing. They say the only thing that is stable, it doesn't change, it changes itself. Why does it change, not changing? Because it is named so. Even if it comes to you, trust is your change. So you have to learn as a person how to adapt. I even used an example of the brand, Coke. Did you notice even now, since this vibe came out of healthy eating, Coke has decided to reduce even the sugar. Now they are calling it Coke with cholesterol. Why? Because it's very critical as a person, do not be stable and static. Adapt with change. I said I'm struggling with identity now because in 2 years' time I'll be permanently sitting at home. She even knows I decided to go for vision design. Yeah, I'll be doing social exercise with my hands. At least something will keep me alive. But adapt with time. Then I came to an end. If you want to keep a brand, and we gave birth to this brand of Shirley K, by the way. And not just that brand, we even gave birth to that thing called Crafted to Make a Difference. These are the works and the responses of 2016. But the aim must always be nobility. If it's not noble, how do I pay attention to it? Because it's not trustworthy. Anything that is noble in its nature, you can easily become loyal to it. Then I came with a D. And right now hearing you, Shirley K, Mmalihara, Kimabone more Facebook, because the D was always for development. Never stay behind, develop yourself. One day, the certificate will never give you a job, but the insight you have gained from them will take you far. And this is my fear now. If I don't belong to a certain group or a portion of women, I can end up being Mamrabe. And maybe Mamrabe, I may not necessarily feel it because culturally I'm differently nurtured and groomed. Can you imagine? Masman Gebe Are. My because it will be befitting. They are my leaders. So you need to also build a capability that will take you even as you age. And I remember when we celebrated your 5th birthday, I spoke about this. One, every group when it starts, we call it a formation stage. Everybody doesn't know where they're going, but there is only one person you can depend on, is the visionary. My God, never lose the vision. You know, I know you went through crisis at some stage, but you were not placed in the strategic unit for no purpose. Because when it unfolds, you could see wholly, you are already doing it corporately. And then I said there is a second stage of it after formation. At that stage, there is confusion. Because there's a lot of cohesion. This is where you pick up on it. I can't tolerate this one. And you will be always in conflict state with others. They call it stormy. You simply don't fit. People will leave you who's supposed not to be here. And people, even now, who have been working with you are still going to leave you. Because they wouldn't understand where the vision is at an appointed time. But I also said there is the end, which is the norming stage. This is where we have rules and regulations. If people don't live according to them, to the norms and the standards, then there's a challenge. It means they don't have a sense of belonging to you. And to you all, it means you don't fit to belong. We are always working towards belonging. And then from there, is closure. But closure of the best things that you have done, it's snowballing. You know when a snowball starts rolling from the avalanche, it starts very little. But as it rolls down, it increases itself. And it replicates itself. And the word of God is very clear. Anything that is planted by God, it multiplies. Wisk, there are new faces. You survived COVID. Happy birthday. You made it. You are a snowball, snowballing. One principle that I'm going to advise you to keep, that which you discuss, let it be remaining in confidentiality. Let that principle guide you. Do not make a laughing stock about other people's issues. Because if you do, it means you are back to the formation stage. You no longer belong. God bless you.